Well, hello, Tenno. Welcome to another Warframe video. My name is Beckett, and today I'm talking about Follie once again. Since the dev stream, her abilities kind of changed. I quickly want to talk about how do you obtain her, what's her abilities now, is she strong, did she become weaker, etc. How is the overall performance? Now, unfortunately, I won't be talking about Cause in this video, which is her signature beam rifle, because I didn't unlock it from the new game mode Follie's Hunt yet. So unfortunately that will be a video of the later. So let's get started with how do you unlock Follie. Now the first step is completing Chains of Hero quest. This quest is, I believe, after like Rising Tides or something, like it's in the really beginning of the game. Then when you go to the Venus, you will see Folly's Hunt. This is the new game mode. It gives you Atronantum for from Steel Pet and Normal Pet variants. I think Normal Pet is 10, Steel Pet is 20, and you can collect Atronantum around by killing inky enemies. That's the regular standard enemy type in Folly's Hunt. And I will talk about this game mode in a video soon, right before the big Operation Atramantum starts. Now, what do you do with the Atramantum you collect? Because Folly's Hunt does give you the blueprints for her and her weapons, but you might not always get the entire thing really fast. So, you go to the Arbiters of Hexes, then you have to find Aspirant Zorba. Zorba is our new NPC and vendor, and he will be the vendor for the event as well. And he has lore tidbits by collecting Atrumentum, which I called the letters of Kozai. And and if you look at his browse wares, there you will see the pity shop. This is where all of your collected Atrumentum will be spent in. You can get Foley's blueprints, Enka's blueprints, her Prex card, some music and other goodies, the chromatic Atrumentum to make your mods foiled, and the newest Tenokai mod, the Truth Flame. This is the first of its kind, a Tenokai mod that has a curse with it. Basically, this let me quickly talk about it. Basically, this lets you spam Tenokai back to back to back to back to back, and it gives you increased melee damage bonus, 120% to be exact, and gives you 4 extra seconds in your window for Tenokai. However, if you miss to kill an enemy, if you fail to kill an enemy with a Tenokai attack, you will suffer 100 heat damage for 6 seconds. What's interesting is they seem to have removed the other part of this text. The curse was not only you take heat damage, you would also lose your melee combo counter. It will be reset to 0. It seems like this is now just you suffer heat damage, which should be manageable. It's just 100 heat damage. And it has +1 truth. Truth, if I remember correctly, is the passive ability you get from Arbiters of Hexes weapons, aka the Telos weapons. And what Truth does is you have to kill enemies to build up a bar, and when that bar is filled, you trigger a 25-meter gas status explosion, especially procs the gas status effect, and it restores 25% health and increases your parkour velocity by 25% as well for 30 seconds. Basically, it just deals gas damage around you and gives you 25% health regen, and it just restores 24% of your health and gives you parkour velocity. That's also 25%. It's quite handy, but New Loca's passive is better, and I'm pretty sure you either have to kill enemies or just gain affinity in general to activate this buff. So this Tenukai seems pretty cool. Anyways, let's start talking about Folly's abilities. Also, her crafting materials are easy. There's no special materials this time. You just like argon crystals, your modules, like your classic stuff. Folly's passive is Ink Blot. This is also mentioned as Ink Blot in all of her other abilities, so like you might want to pay attention. Also, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and turn that bell on for the newest videos. Anyways, so what Ink Blot does is whenever you use an ability with Folly, it puts ink on enemies naturally, And the inked enemies are slowed by 50% for a few seconds. I didn't count, but like you're gonna be killing them by that, so it doesn't matter that much. And when you kill an enemy, they will have a 20% chance to drop health and energy orbs. You can build equilibrium on Folly, that is optional, or you can just use Arcane Energize for the funny. But I'm pretty sure equilibrium will be a better choice. Maybe you can like go that one corrupted mod that gives you strength, but it eats your efficiency. So instead of using streamlined, you can just use primed flow and equilibrium to gain as much as energy as possible. But again, this is a 20% chance, and inking up enemies is, yes, easy, but the chance is still quite low. You know what they say, if it's not 100% chance, it might as well be 10. Also, let me quickly show how does the passive works, obviously. Basically, like I said, any ability, you ink enemies up, they're slowed, really slow. It's like the Gloom slow. Then when you kill them, boop, some energy and health orbs bounce up from them. But like I said, since it's 20% chance, don't rely on it too much. I still use Energize, and I will suggest using Equilibrium on it as well. Foley's first ability, Forced Perspective. This is basically similar to Hydrate's ability, where you just traverse a short distance, you cleanse any status that's on you, and you become invincible and for the duration of the ability. It's a really low energy cost ability, as you can see. Even though I'm using the corrupted mod, it's still 18 energy per cast, so you can just spam this around, cleanse yourself, ink enemies for easily, and deal some corrosive damage as well. So like it's like 11 meters, so it's just your average traverse ability, similar to Hydrate. I basically showed this while showing the passive, but here like this is basically what it does. If there's any status on you, if there's too much heat on you, you just do this, save yourself, status immunity, and some immortality for a few seconds. Pretty neat. Folly's second ability, and in my opinion the craziest ability, is the Shadow Graph. What this does is you look into your Shadow Graph, you hold down your second ability, you open a wheel, you pick one of the drawings, and you summon the corresponding item. And you can draw the icons for that, and when you just click the ability, it will summon the last choice you picked, like last item you picked. And of course, this ability spreads ink to enemies as all of your other abilities as well. Also, you can access the shadow graph from your arsenal, and you just click any of the items, and then you just draw on them. From default, there are icons. I only drew on the Termin RPG. I drew like a soldier from TFT on it, which is quite funny. I'm quite proud of my artwork, and I also draw that orb as like a blue orb with lasers because pondering my orb. And the damage of this ability scales with your ability strength. So like just because you're summoning regular items, don't think like they won't deal any damage. They deal quite a lot. And the barrel can be random elements. Sometimes it's gas, sometimes it's blast. Like it changes time to time, which is cool. And like yeah, the damage is quite high for the barrel. Same for the arc trap as well. I'm pretty sure the electricity trap also deals a lot of damage. uh, there's also some other items which I'm gonna get to. Let me quickly summon. Determined RPG might have been nerfed a little because in the Simulacrum showcase on the dev stream, this would one-shot everything, which it does do 4 million damage to regular enemies. Maybe the heavy gunners have some sort of resistance, because when I was using in the survival, it was definitely clearing rooms. And my build uses 200% ability strength. This is the You can summon chemical things from the the mixing thing, alchemy, if I remember correctly. That's pretty cool. I quite like them. Like I said, you summon a death orb, and if you notice on the bottom right, you cannot spam all of these. Usually, the bigger ones, the bigger items, basically have a cooldown. So that's a good precaution because you can spawn like survival air support or survival, yeah, survival support, air support, or survival air tower. Like, yeah, you can summon survival towers, you can summon conduit keys for disruption, you can summon batteries for excavation, or lock surges to buff your teammates. So obviously, to not spam them and not complete missions way faster than you should, and not to cheese them, they of course obviously gave them cooldowns. And I think the biggest cooldown is on the lock surge, which is 7 minutes. So also another thing with the Vlog Search, I'm pretty sure they removed the ability to give yourself the infinite ammo buff from the Log Search. So you will have the other ones like Red Crit from secondaries, the Energy Orb, the Health Orb, the Slash Lifesteal. But unfortunately, the infinite ammo and fire rate buff has been removed from this Log Search as a balanced precaution. And here's the Electricity Arc Trap. This doesn't have a cooldown and it just clears rooms. Yes, it is quite insane. It is. I'm pretty sure you can spam like max three or two or three of them. There's also a bunch of other stuff. There's like Launchpad. There's the yellow lantern kid in Zerman, which shows you secret items. It just pings them to you. It can also ping the keys for the new survival thing. Basically, lets you complete the thing faster. And it just goes on and on. It even summons a small defense target, so it taunts the enemies, which is pretty cool. In my opinion, this ability is probably the most like high utility thing that I've ever seen from a Warframe because it has so many uses. Definitely not a niche, and I'm quite impressed by it. Quite the creative Warframe we have here. The third ability, Self Portrait, is your survivability tool. You basically summon an effigy, a clone of yourself, and it gives you damage reduction while inking the enemies in the vicinity of it. And the more enemies you kill around it, the bigger it gets, so the range gets bigger. Since I'm using Stretch and Overextended, the range of my Self Portrait can extend almost into 50 meters. So when you're playing like survival missions or even like big maps, this is still an insane amount of area, which is also pretty cool. And let me show you how the ability looks. You summon the Follie. She takes damage for you. I'm pretty sure she has a taunt as well. You then kill some enemies around her. And she just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can see how the ink like river around her, like that gets really gigantic at a survival mission. And here you can see that the self portrait has been maxed out, so I have 19% damage reduction. So you don't need to build shield gating, health gating, you just can use this. Here you go. And yes, if you did notice, all of Folly's abilities deal corrosive damage, which is pretty cool. You can do something funny. I kind of went with all because like you don't have to. I went with all ability strength and ability duration with her because of the corrupted mods, but I might swap the ability duration for green Archon shards that can be either Tau or regular because those can increase the corrosive status stacks, leading to you armor stripping them even easier. Though I don't know if the corrosive damage is like continuous or like instance. Like maybe with the statue it might be continuous and the shadow graph it might be continuous, but that needs testing. Other than that, the fourth ability also armor strips, and this fourth ability is also utility because the damage part seems like had been nerfed. What this does is you summon balloons which levitates enemies. When the enemies are levitating, they're armor stripped 100%. That scales with ability strength. And when you shoot the balloons, they drop down, dying to fall damage. Now, they can go really high up, and you know, in 1999, when you kill balloon enemies, they die to fall damage. And in the devstream, from the regular simulacrum height, they will die instantly. However, this damage seems to be nerfed, so they just don't, unfortunately, they don't get one shot by dropping down anymore. So, unless the enemies go really high up, this ability seems more like a utility tool where you use it to armor strip and stun your enemies. And I can tell you, it can get. I'm pretty sure it can get a lot of enemies because this is like 20 of them. So, as a utility tool, as an armor strip, it's pretty cool, and it's something to feed your FAG. Wow, that was a horrible war scrap. So, it's basically something to feed your FAG even more efficiently. So, this is the kit of Folly, and I gotta say I'm quite impressed. So let's go to a live gameplay in Steelpad Mod Survival in Void. Alright, as for last and final thoughts, Foley is probably one of the most unique Warframes I've ever played. She has such an interesting kit and such a fun kit as well. I like how we can customize the icons for her abilities, the shadow for the shadow graph, the second ability. She has a really good self-sustain and incredible way to get, uh, do like funky stuff with her like second ability again, because I want to mention shadow graph a lot because like she has a good self-sustain already. She can give herself energy and health orbs. She can have a dr that can reach almost 50 meters if you try hard enough. But that shadow graph, you can make it work in survival, excavation, disruption. You can make yourself survive more. You can get uh, defense target to taunt for you. You can deal insane. You can clear rooms with a barrel or an arc trap while also feeding your effigy to give you more DR. Like the balloons kinda fell short because compared to her second ability, but they're still a good utility tool to armor strip enemies as well. So she is an incredible Warframe, and I don't think she will be a Warframe that gets boring fast because like of their strength. She's just a Warframe that feels like you want to mess around with a lot and just has a lot of fun moving parts. So I'm really happy about Foley. And I hope you are too. Also, design wise, I give her a 9 out of 10 just because I don't want to give 10 to everything I see. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say, talk about Folly. I hope you all enjoy this video, and I hope you're having fun as much as I had with Folly, and I see you, Tenno, in the next video when I talk about either Encause or Folly's Hunt game mode.